Fucking real.
Evening all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you all right?
Have you moved rooms, Gabby?
Yes, I've got a new yoga studio now. I'm very lucky.
Very nice.
Yes, it is. A little bit dark though. Are you all right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Good stuff. Hi Nikki. Hi Dawn. Hi Martin. Hi Jenny. Hi Tracy, Linda, Ginny. It's like, what was that thing called? Romper Room. Does anybody remember Romper Room?
Yeah.
I can see. And Badger's here too. Right, let me go and get Badger's bed before we start, or he's going to be a pain. How does he know that I'm about to start?
Take him.
What?
Don't need to take him.
No. I don't mind him being with me. I just don't want him on my back. You don't want him on my back. Right, Badge, this is for you. And I need to move that thing out of the way so that I can see what's going on.
Ginny? Ginny, look
Hello?
what
I want mauve one. I'll do you a swap. You can have my
Yeah.
orange ones and I'll have your mauve ones.
all have they? Wasn't to be outdone.
Oh yes,
Did you
the
go and buy them
socks.
specially?
I
Yeah.
remember the socks. Did you all sleep well after Sunday?
Yes, very
Yes,
well.
really well.
I came home, it was like I'd been brainwashed. I couldn't think about anything at all. My brain was just a blank. It totally wore me out. No, it was good. Oh, well, we've got another couple of minutes. I think almost everyone's here now. I'm just going to put a jumper on. Those of you who've got bolsters, please go and grab them. We're going to use the bolsters a lot tonight. If you've got a brick and a block, we will use those as well. So lots of draping over our lovely props this evening. If you haven't got a bolster, a couple of pillows or some sofa cushions even, anything where you can just collapse onto what you've got. Get my other bolster.
Do we need straps?
No, not tonight. No straps tonight. It's not a strap sort of night, I don't think.
Handcuffs, yes.
No, Badger. You have to go and sit in your own bed
Badger,
now. Go
yes.
sit in your own
Yeah.
Get in your place, Thomas.
bed. If you have got your bolsters to hand, I think we're, oh, hang on, there's someone waiting to come in. Simon, can you just admit from the waiting room, please? Amanda's waiting to come in. We're going to start laying down, you'll be pleased to know, on our bolsters so that our shoulders can drape off. So you might need something to rest your head on at the back of your bolster, or you might be happy letting your head hang. So we want to put the base of our spine right on the edge of the bolster. Will you just leave all the...
Shall I mute you? Or mute me?
Do you want us to mute, Gabby?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
I've just muted you.
Great, thank you. So just making sure that your spine is fully supported, and then If you've got a brick to put under your head, then that will make it more comfortable. So maybe you're laying on pillows or sofa cushions, but just let your shoulders open up here. So you want your palms upturned, knees are bent to take the weight off your lower back, so you're in a very supported posture here. And we're just going to take a moment and come into the space, letting your day go so far. Maybe you've been dashing around, perhaps you haven't long eaten, so we'll try not to do too much laying on our tummies tonight. You'll see. Just noticing how you feel this evening. Noticing if there's any tension in the body, maybe seeing if you can breathe into that tension. And let's take a couple of really deep breaths here down into the belly. And when you exhale, just sigh it out. No one can hear you. You can make as much noise as you like. And when you breathe out, when you exhale, try and let something go. Something of the day, just let it go. Don't need it here now. We're starting to slow everything down, getting ready for bed, taking it nice and slow, relaxed, starting to internalize our experience, what's happening with our mind, our body and our breath this evening. So taking your awareness into your belly, making sure you're breathing deep into your belly here, just watching the rise and fall. Noticing how your shoulders feel as you're laying here. Just really trying to get a sense that you've let everything go there. Let them sink heavily into whatever is supporting you. Especially if you've been sitting at a desk or doing lots of carrying today. This is the perfect counter posture to your busy day today. So really try and let go here. And just following the inhale and the exhale. Maybe counting the breaths for a few rounds of breath. So to your own count, inhaling for 4 and then exhaling for 4. Noticing in this next round, if you're aware of the little pause in between the inhale and the exhale. And doing 2 more 4-4 breaths. And then we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 4, hold for 2. So we're starting to elongate the pauses. So really thinking about what's happening with your breath here. Still breathing into the belly region. If your mind starts to wander, just gently draw it back to the counting of the breath and particularly to the pauses. Letting your fingertips very gently curl in towards the palms. So although your shoulders might feel quite stretched here, you might feel quite stretched in the front body, this is quite a passive posture for your body to be in. Gravity's doing all the work here. So letting go of the counted breath now. Just let your breath find its own rhythm. Just let it go and very slowly opening your eyes here. Noticing how you feel. And using your hands just to gently sit yourself up on your bolster. And just shimmy yourself along your bolster until you're sitting with your feet flat, your knees bent, and you're using your bolster now as a nice relaxing seat. So just taking a moment here and taking the chin down to the chest. So remember, we're keeping as much space between the vertebrae as possible. Chin comes to chest. And this time we're going to take the chin up to the ceiling and stretch into the throat, very gently and slowly. And then forward, back down onto the chest again. Once more up. And then back to neutral. And then turning the head left, looking over your left shoulder, center and right. And center. We're going to do that a few times, so going left. Just noticing how the two sides compare. Maybe you'll notice you're a bit tighter in one side than the other. So we'll do it once more each side, once more to the right, once more to the left. Actually, we owe the right side one more, so once more over to the right. And then back to center, sitting nice and tall still, and taking the left ear to the left shoulder. Let's just sit here with the breath for a minute, see how that feels. Slowly, chin comes to chest at the front, and then we'll roll the right ear over the right shoulder and see how that feels. So noticing when we were doing the left and right, if you had one side that was tight, just seeing if we can ease it out here. Back through center, left ear over left shoulder. Making sure that both shoulders are really relaxed here. We don't want them to be involved in this stretch. Then round through center and right ear to right shoulder. And then up to center. I'm just going to turn around so I can face you. So still sitting comfortably on your bolster, if you're comfortable like that. You can either have one foot in front of the other and just let your knees flop down so your hips are higher than your knees. This is quite comfortable unless you've got a very firm bolster. So just sitting in comfort, maybe you'd feel happier on a block or maybe on neither of those things. Or you can even sit you can sit kneeling on your bolster, entirely up to you. So bringing your fingertips up to your collarbones here, just drawing nice big circles with the elbows. Just moving on from those neck mobilization exercises that we did. Nice and slow, and then let's go back the other way. And then bringing the elbows to meet in front. Make sure your shoulders are dropped here. You're not wearing them around your ears. And then let's take them all the way back. So really opening in the front body like we did when we first got on our bolsters. And then without changing anything in the lower body, let's just take the upper body towards the left. See how that feels. Take a few breaths here. So we've got a gentle twist in the torso, and then back to center, and then let's go to the right. So you should be getting a little bit of muscle fatigue in the upper body now. Going to go once more through center, round to the left. And then coming forward, and then round to the right. Nearly done, I promise. Ooh, and let the arms down. Give them a few circles round. Just loop them round and back. And then in the opposite direction. I'm getting too warm now. It was chilly earlier. And now taking both hands behind you with your elbows high and beside your ears, sitting as tall as you possibly can. We're just going to really be active in the triceps here, and we're going to hold this breath here as we do a very small twist towards the left. Really checking in with the breath, make sure you're still breathing into your belly, and then to center, and then over to the right. Still pulling those elbows as high as you can with lots of space in the spine, lots of length. And then back to center. Have we almost had enough of this? And then just bringing the arms down. Ooh, that feels nice. So release that off. And let's just start winding into the wrists. So seeing how the wrists are today, if you've been working with your hands or your arms, maybe this feels very tight, and then back the other way. Involving the fingers as well. And then holding your left arm out in front of you, pushing away as though you're actively trying to stop something or pushing against a wall, and then dial that hand all the way down. So we've got a very straight arm here, very active, and gently, one at a time, pull each finger back. So not the most joyous exercise in the whole world, but it's very, very good for just stretching out this medial nerve here. And then just take a bit of a break, and then let's take the other hand out in front. So you're getting a bit of a rotation here. As you push away, your arm is almost coming across your body a little bit. So push, 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 really active in that arm, and then dial that hand down. So fingers are facing the floor, sitting nice and tall as we work one finger at a time. Really feeling the stretch into the wrist there. And then, having a nice relax there. And then clasping both hands together. However you've just done that, move the fingers so the other little finger is in front. So we shake things up a bit. The brain can't always decide for us that we always do things this way. Sometimes we mix it up. And then start wiggling through the wrists, just getting a nice fluid movement here. And then back the other way, if you can manage that. I still struggle with this. In fact, it's worse that I can see myself doing this at the moment. It's all wrong. And plus my camera is filming me in mirror image, so my head is totally messed up at the moment. And then taking a break there. Whatever you're sitting on, if you want to just pop yourself off that for a moment. And we're going to come to our hands and knees. I will face you. So we're weight bearing into our wrists here. So wrists are beneath our shoulders. Hips are above our ankles. And then we're just going to turn the hands around. So a bit like we did before. And just take your arms far enough forward, or take your body far enough back where you feel the pull into that medial nerve again. So rather than looking at what I'm doing, as long as your fingers are pointing towards your knees, you won't have to take much of a movement. You'll be really open between your shoulder blades here. This is really great for the upper body if you're carrying tension here. Also really good if you've been on your computer all day and your wrist has been clicking away on the mouse. And then just sitting back and taking the weight off those wrists. And this time coming up onto the backs of the hands. So we're a bit like little gorillas here. So just sitting nice and tall. And again, having your fingers facing towards you. This won't feel the most pleasant thing in the world. You have to now, it's a bit of a toss-up, which one you hate most, this or tucking the toes. In fact, perhaps we ought to tuck the toes at the same time. It might just distract you enough. Up to you, you don't have to do that. I just thought I'd add that in for a bit of a laugh, so I know how much you like it. So just taking a moment here to really feel the stretch in the wrist there, and then coming off and really taking some movement into your wrist this way and that. Feel the relief, that should feel lovely. And now just as a bit of a counter move, coming onto your bottoms, arms come behind you, fingertips are facing towards your bum, and just take a couple of little dips forward and back. So knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. We're just using our biceps and triceps. And we're pushing forward and back just to take the strain out of the wrists there. They've just done quite a lot of work. And then up. Last time down. And then come to sit up. So feet are a little way in front of us. Knees are still bent. We're going to hug around the shins here at the front. So feet are about hip width apart. So use your hands and your biceps to pull yourself up and forward. So we're not rounding down here. We're really sitting straight and then using our arms to pull us into a beautifully upright position. Imagine that you're sticking your bums out here, which has the effect of just sending your hips back just a tad. So we've got lovely length in the spine here. The chin is slightly tucked. We're feeling quite strong in the arms here now. Maybe you're aware of the energy flowing through your wrists where we've done work there. And then let's take that movement the opposite way. So really round through the back. Hang on to your knees so you don't go all the way down. Tuck your chin in. So we're creating lots of space between the shoulders here. We're just breathing into this. So imagine you're just totally giving into this posture. You're letting go as much as you can. And slowly, slowly, let's start to engage the arms again as we pull ourselves back. So the spine is lifting and lengthening. We're using our arms, our shoulders to pull ourselves forward. So we're almost trying to squeeze our shoulders together here. It's that sort of feeling. And maybe your knees are just parting a little bit as you pull your torso towards your thighs. Again, sending the hips back, very tall in the spine. So we're long and lifted, chin is tucked in. Just feeling where we're active in this pose, making sure you're breathing with ease. You're probably hanging on quite tightly to your shins. See if you could just relax your hands, but still use the tension in your upper arms here. So we're trying to give our wrists a bit of a break here. And then let's take it back the other way. Really kind of collapse into it, tucking that chin right in. Breathing into the belly here. Being aware that everything is slowing down. We're not doing anything quickly at the moment. And then very slowly bringing yourself up to a sort of neutral position. And then bringing both knees right in towards the body, hugging your right arm around both legs. Take the left hand behind you. Really use your left hand to give yourself a bit more lift and length here. And let's take a little twist here. We don't often do both knees up twist. So this is just in the top of the body. See if you can take that shoulder round a little bit. So it's really just trying to pull that shoulder back. See how that feels. And then slowly coming to center. Let's take that really passive curl again. Just drop back, holding onto the knees here. Maybe taking the feet apart a little bit just to give you a bit more balance. You might feel a bit wobbly. Just going to stay here for a breath or two. And then moving the feet back up. As you sit yourself up nice and tall, hugging the opposite arm around the legs now. This time the right hand comes behind, fingers are facing backwards. Use that hand to really push away as you lift and lengthen. And then take a twist over to the other side and see if you can move that shoulder round a little bit just to facilitate the twist. Noticing how your neck feels. Slowly head and neck come back to center. Take the feet a little bit further forward. Hook your hands around your shins and take that lovely curl into the spine there. Chin comes onto the chest. And then slowly bringing yourself up to seated. So grabbing your bolster or your pillows or whatever you've got for comfort tonight and just setting the bolster in front of you. So taking your knees wide, you can't see here, I'm blending into my mat too well. I've got my big toes touching, my knees are as wide as the mat. I've got the bolster close to my body. If you are using a bolster and you've got something to hand that will help you prop your bolster like so, just get to the point where you can prop your pillows or your bolster or whatever. Maybe you need to lean your pillows against a sofa or something, and then just drape yourself over your support, noticing which side you've chosen to lay your face. So we really want to get to the point where we're letting the glute muscles go, the feet, the hips, the shoulders. It's really weird where we hold tension even when we're trying to relax. There'll be something that's still hanging on. So having a big check in here, making sure your fingers are lightly curled into the palms. Making sure your thighs are switched off, the calves. So totally passive here. This should feel nothing but lovely. If it doesn't feel lovely, readjust yourself until you can find something that feels completely passive for you, where you're just taking a bit of a forward fold. So the important thing here is that we decrease the angle at the hip. So the hip and the thigh, or rather the torso and the thigh, are closer together. So we're just letting gravity do its job. We're totally yielding to the surface that's supporting us. Maybe taking a nice deep breath and a bit of a sigh if that's what you fancy doing. Let it all go, or let something go. I really like the idea of that. As you take a deep inhale, when you exhale, let something go. So just finding lots of ease and space in your body. Now, whichever side of your face you've been laying on, just lift and turn your head the other way. This perhaps won't feel quite so nice. You chose the other side for a reason, but we need to give both sides a chance. And then check in and see where you might have tightened up elsewhere, where you brought some tension in. Try and let it go. Again, just really deep inhale, try and let something go on the exhale. Being aware of your toes touching at the back. Being aware of your belly, the rise and the fall as you're draped over your support. Maybe you're aware of your heartbeat. And then very slowly using your hands to support you as you lift your body and your face off your support. And just taking whatever, if you did what I was just doing and you had your brick supporting underneath the bolster, lay the bolster flat now and just taking a nice stretch. So kind of child's pose, but we're being supported fully here. So we've got a much deeper forward fold. So rather than just hugging the bolster, we've completely given into it here. So if you're able to do that. If your feet are getting a bit tingly from your legs being bent, then by all means shift your position. Do what you need to do. But try and just be completely passive wherever you put yourself. So letting go with everything. There's nothing doing any work here at all. Breathing deeply into the belly. And then lifting and turning the head to the other side. And then slowly bringing your head back to center, walking your hands in to support you as you push yourself up here. So taking your bolster or your pillows or your cushions, whatever you've got, and just rolling them in front of you here. So bringing the knees together. In fact, we'll take a little bit of a break from being totally folded in half. So coming up to your knees and bringing your forearms down to your support here. Maybe you'll need to roll the bolster or your pillows away and try and roll it far enough where you can get your head behind the bolster. So the head's not on the bolster, but the forearms and the elbows are. And then just bring your hands in prayer to go between your shoulders. So I've got my forehead on the mat, but I'm using the bolster or the pillows to just rest my elbows on. So we're getting a lovely stretch into the shoulders again here. Everything's quite passive. There's a right angle at our knees. So just being aware of the stretch in the triceps here. If it's too much for your palms to be together, then just lower the arms and just lean into your forearms on the bolster. That's enough. But if you want to hold the tricep stretch, it's a nice one here. Just holding for a few more breaths. And then really sinking your belly down towards the mat as you roll your arms off the bolster. Just have your hands on the bolster or the pillows as though you're pushing it away. So we're in child's pose, but our hands are elevated slightly here. Just push away. Really feel the activity in the shoulders. And then slowly bringing the hands beside your knees and pushing up to seated. So coming round to seated once more and bringing your bolster or your cushions or whatever you've got beside your hip. I've got mine beside my right hip. So I'm going to send both my knees right. So both my knees are pointing in the direction that my bolster is going. The bolster is right up to my hip here. And then I'm going to turn to look at the bolster. You might need to adjust your feet until you're really comfy here. Once you're turning and facing your bolster, just slide your hands down and lay your body on it. So we're draping sideways now. So we're in a side bend, we're fully supported, our rib cage is supported. Let any tension in your feet go. And work your way up your body, your calves and your thighs, your hips. Just noticing the stretch here between your hip and your ribs. And then slowly lifting and turning the head the other way. We won't stay here for long because it's not terribly comfortable, but it's good to give it a twist. Hands are very relaxed here. And then slowly bringing head and neck back to center, using your hands to push yourself up to seated. Bring both feet round to the front. And let's take the bolster over to the other side. So just dragging it next to your left hip now, or the opposite hip to the one you were just using. Both knees are facing in the same direction, so just waggle your feet about until they're comfy. Turn to look at your bolster and then slide your hands down and just drape yourself over, noticing how it feels on this side. So we've got that lovely stretch from the hip into the rib cage. Trying to breathe deeply here, letting go of any tension that you can find. So completely passive posture here. Hands are relaxed, feet are relaxed, thighs are relaxed. If you're laying on your left side like I am, maybe you're aware of your heart beating again. Noticing how slowly it's beating. Hopefully it's beating slowly. Hopefully you're nice and calm and relaxed. And then lifting and turning the head just for a few breaths. See how it feels on the other side. And then head and neck come center, using your hands to gently lift yourself back up. And this time bringing the soles of your feet together in front of your body and bringing the bolster so that it wedges neatly between your knees. So do whatever you need to do to get comfortable. For me, it means bringing my heels closer into my body. You just want to be able to hug the bolster in with your elbows, just sitting nice and tall here. But we are also draping a little bit over the bolster. So this isn't a postural check-in here. We're actually rounding over the bolster and just giving into gravity here. So letting the head hang low, letting the hips fully open here. Maybe you need to adjust your feet to make this more comfortable. So imagining that our spines are fully rounded here at the moment. We're really rounding into them. We can feel right into the lower back as we round out. And then sitting tall here and moving our feet a little bit further away and putting the bolster on our feet here and just reaching forward. So we're in a forward fold. We are looking at posture here. So we do want a nice long spine. Imagine that you're sending your hips away long. Chin is slightly tucked, so we're just holding onto the edge of the bolster here, using it to sort of pull against, if you like. The hips are nicely open, the soles of the feet are together, looking just beyond the edge of the bolster. Just seeing how we feel here in this position. And then slowly moving the bolster and taking the feet back with the soles together, but with the bolster underneath the knees, or the pillows or the cushions, whatever you're using, so that you're fully supported here with your knees wide, and use your hands around your ankles just to pull yourself tall here. And then taking your thumbs into the inside arches of your feet. Using a little bit of pressure here, just using your thumbs to massage the inside arch of your foot. Nice and soothing if you've had a day on your feet. Just following the line of the ligaments up and down the foot. And then from outer arch to inner arch, as if you were trying to open the feet like a book. And just checking in with your posture, make sure you haven't lost any integrity there. You're still nice and tall, lots of space. Just giving the balls of your feet a nice massage here, your big toe, and then the other toes. And if you like sticking your fingers between your toes, maybe you want to give that a go. I hate it. I really don't like it at all. But if you want to do it, you put a finger between each toe and then you waggle your ankles around. It's just something to do while we're sitting here with our hips opening. We're letting go of a lot of emotional energy from the day. Looking just beyond the toes. And then sitting nice and tall. And taking our legs off the bolsters here now. And let's just turn to come round onto our backs. And maybe just bringing the bolster or cushions or pillows, whatever you've got, bring it in as close to your bottom as you can. And place your feet on it so your knees are elevated here. And it allows your spine to be pushed really flat into the mat. Maybe your feet are about hip width apart. Play about with it so that you can actually push your feet into it. We're not quite in bridge pose here. It's a bit extreme for bridge pose, but so that you can just use the pressure of your feet into the bolster here as you just start to roll your pelvis forward and back. So we're just using this more extreme angle to just isolate the movement of the pelvis. So the head, neck and shoulders and the upper spine are still firmly on the mat. And we're just rolling the pelvis here, making sure that your toes are pointing just a tiny bit towards each other. That stops your knees from splaying out. Just noticing how this feels in the lower back. Really exaggerating the other way, if anything, so we're creating as big a gap underneath our spines as possible. Normally the emphasis is coming up high the other way. Let's try and roll the pelvis the other way, so we're creating a big arch. Just seeing how that feels. So we're using as much movement as we are able into the pelvic area and the hips. And now just kicking the pillows or the bolster in right towards the bottom. So our feet are actually on the floor, the other side of the support now. And now we'll start properly doing bridge. So now that we've been working into the pelvis, we can start to take it a little bit higher each time. And we are going to end up, after we've done about 5 of these, we're going to stop in supported bridge. So having your support ready to roll underneath your sacrum when you get there. So just slowly working through all the moves you need to get you to where you're going. And now the next time you go up, just rolling your support into place to wedge you there. So making sure that the pillows, bolster or cushions are right underneath your sacrum, the big flat bony bit at the base of your spine. So you don't want to be completely on your buttocks, a little bit higher than your buttocks, but not so high that you're right into your lower back. So it's between the two things really. And just letting your hands come out to the side so they're not involved on the bolster at all. Palms are up. Tucking the chin slightly just to make sure you've got a lovely long neck into the spine. And make sure that everything is switched off here. So your glute muscles, your thigh muscles, your feet, your calves, your hands, your wrists, your arms. Part your teeth. Let your brow be soft. You have all these places to carry tension, and sometimes we just need to remind ourselves where to let go. Just seeing if you can edge your shoulders a little bit closer towards each other here, which will just allow you a little bit more lift. And if you feel you're well supported on your support, maybe bringing your left knee in towards your chest and then taking the leg up straight, just seeing how that feels. And then we can bend into that leg and take it back down. And let's try on the other side. The knee comes in and then we extend the foot away. So the leg is active here. The foot is flexed. And if your lower back feels okay doing that, maybe bringing both knees into the chest. So we're very well supported here. And then taking both feet up. If you've got your support in the right place, this should feel really lovely. Very, very calming pose. So just doing a quick check-in with yourself, especially if you can see yourself on your own screen. Make sure you haven't overbalanced and you've started to hinge at your hips again. You want to be a right angle at your hips. So your feet want to be directly up. You don't want to have your feet over your head. We're not doing flower pose here. They just want to be straight up. So we want to be in a nice right angle here. Flexing into the feet, so nice and active into the Achilles, into the plantar fascia underneath the foot. Very, very calming. So this is an inversion that's really not taxing at all. So all the benefits with no hard work. We're not having to stand on our heads, but this is just as efficient as if we were. So maybe having a little look at your feet here and spreading your toes as wide as they'll go, looking at all the little bones in your feet that you can see when you're like this. Amazing bits of kit, the feet. When you think about the weight and the structure they have to carry for the rest of us, they're really quite small, aren't they? However big your feet are, they're really quite small in the grand scheme of things. The load they carry. Let's just take a moment of appreciation for our tootsies right now. And how sad we'd be if we didn't have them. And maybe taking a few little ankle rolls here into the feet in one direction and then the other. And then point and flex, really being aware of the stretching of the skin on the top of the feet as we do this. Maybe you can feel the stretch into your calf muscles, the muscles that run down the side of your shin. It's amazing really, just from this little flex and point, all the work that's going on. And if you look at your thighs, you'll see that your thighs are actually working as well. Just from that very small forward and back hinging motion of your ankles. And then bringing one knee in towards the chest and taking it down. And then the other. And let's just take a moment here. Unshimmy your shoulders if you've had them shimmied in. Just take a moment, maybe letting your knees roll in towards each other if you take your feet up to the side of the mat. And then very slowly and carefully, we're going to take the support out from underneath our sacrum. And just take a moment, waggling your knees from side to side. So take your feet really wide here. Feel for the edge of your mat. And just let your knees windscreen wiper here. We're just letting the pelvis find a neutral position once more, having been supported for quite a few minutes. And then taking the left leg away long here and bringing the right knee in towards the chest. Left hand comes towards the outside of the right leg, right hand comes away from the body at shoulder height, and then we're just going to draw that knee over the body so both shoulders stay down here. And when that right knee gets to where it's getting to, let's lift and turn the head in the opposite direction. So just looking towards the outstretched hand, feeling that lovely stretch in the right glute here. Noticing how your belly breath is changed when we're holding a twist. Seeing if you can let go of any tension in that outstretched leg. See if you can make this stretch passive. And then head and neck come back to center. Release that knee, slowly bring it back in towards the chest. Bring the other knee in to join it. And hugging around the shins, take a little roll from side to side. Let's just massage out. Feels really nice after that supported bridge pose. And then this time very carefully taking the right leg away long, stretching it away. Left arm comes out beside the body at shoulder height. Right hand grabs the outside of the left knee and gently let's just draw it over towards the right, leaving both shoulders on the mat. And when your knee's gone as far as it's going, lifting and turning the head in the opposite direction. Feeling a lovely stretch in the left outer hip and glute here now. Trying to let everything else be passive. The foot in the outstretched leg. Checking in with your breath, making sure you can breathe with ease. Releasing the tension in your jaw and your brow. Head and neck come back to center. Slowly rolling that left knee back. Bring both knees back in again, holding around the shins and taking a little roll from side to side. And then taking both knees towards the armpits here, so taking your feet really wide. Taking your arms between your knees and grabbing the outside of your feet. So let's just take a few breaths here in happy baby. So stretching your feet, holding the outsides of your feet with your hands. Feeling quite firm in the thighs here while you're doing this. Quite a pull in the quads. And then slowly bringing the feet down and letting them come down to the mat one at a time. And let's just take a moment in constructive rest here. Just letting your pelvis find a neutral place. Maybe by pushing one knee forward then the other, and then it will sort of flatten out. And then taking your feet really wide to the mat once more. Letting the knees drop one side and then the other. So we're just rolling. It's a bit like when we're sitting up and doing the stretch over the bolster. We're stretching the inner thigh muscles that run down to the inside of the knee. And then coming to stillness, letting both knees just drop in towards each other here. Bringing one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest. It doesn't matter which way round they are. Let's just take a few moments here, following the breath all the way into the belly. So making sure that that hand rises. So just observing with every inhale and exhale, movement of the diaphragm. It will move your bottom hand first. And then as you inhale more deeply, the top of the lungs inflate and they move the top hand. And then they empty in the reverse order. So just following that movement. And this time when you inhale, we're going to hold at the top of the inhale, just for 3 breaths. And then exhale slowly, and we're going to hold on the exhale for 3 as well. So really empty all the breath out. Obviously you're doing this at your own count. Just holding for 3 at the natural pause points. Noticing that it's a lot easier to hold after an exhale. Two more of these. And now letting go of any control of the breath and moving the hands away from the body. And setting yourself up for your Shavasana. So however you would like to end your practice tonight, maybe you like the bolster underneath your knees here. Maybe you want to end the practice as we started it, laying with your shoulders completely open. It's your choice. But do whatever you can, do all the fidgeting and getting everything you need for your absolute comfort here. If you want an extra layer to make yourself warm, seems a bit crazy, doesn't it? We're getting towards the end of August and we're talking about having to keep warm. I've been a bit chilly today. But just making yourself comfortable. If there's anything that you can do to make yourself even 5% more comfortable, do it now. And having your final fidget and coming to complete stillness for the last 4 minutes of the practice. And in fact, before we come to complete stillness, I want you to start by really crunching your toes together and then release. And then really pressing your calves into the mat and then release. And then tensing your thighs and release. And then squeezing your buttocks, really squeeze them tight and release. And then pushing the backs of your arms into the mat and release. Making a fist with your hands, really tightly squeeze and release. And then really screw your face into the most grotesque contortion you can manage. Really screwing your eyes together tightly and release. And now let your teeth gently part. Let your lips be apart. Let your jaw be soft. And just give in to gravity here and start to once more internalize your focus. Just thinking about the inhale and the exhale. Noticing how everything has slowed since the beginning of the practice. Hopefully your muscles feel heavy. Maybe you're aware of the buzz of energy flowing through your body. Perhaps you're aware of the slowing of your heartbeat and of your breath. Everything's slowing right down. It's like we're turning down the volume on the day. So starting to deepen your inhale and your exhale, maybe moving your thumb over your fingertips, taking a little movement, whatever stretches might feel nice right now. And slowly bringing one knee in towards the chest and then the other, perhaps taking a little rock and roll here, before just coming to lay on your right hand side. If you've got any essential oils near to you, any nice bedtime smells, then you might want to grab those as you slowly come up to seated. And trying to keep your eyes closed as you rub your palms together. So sitting nice and tall, rubbing your palms really vigorously. Generating a little heat here. And then putting the palms in front of the face and just breathe. So joining the palms here now and bringing them down the front of your body to rest at Anjali Mudra at your heart center. Sitting your spine as tall as it can possibly be here and just dropping your chin and your head in a bow of acknowledgement for the time that you set aside for your practice this evening to unite your mind, your body and your breath. Just to mindfully bring your day to a slow down and an unwind, ready for your night of rest. And let's just take a moment here to acknowledge just how amazing your body is. And I hope you have a really restful night's sleep. Namaste. Hope you're all right. Has anyone dropped off? Have we lost anyone?
Thank you
I
very
think I
much.
did there for a minute.
You're very
Gabby.
welcome. You're all still awake, are you? It's
Yes,
always
thank
nice.
you. That was lovely.
I'd love to be able to tiptoe off at this point, knowing that at least 3 of you are snoring away in the background.
Thank you, Gabby.
Anyway, thank you very much
Thanks very
for joining
much.
me tonight.
Thank you,
And,
Gabby.
I'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Lovely.
Gabby.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Nighty.
Do you like that?